Bonjour, mon ami. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Absolutely coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. We got everything going here. And look who I have beside me. For those of you who are not watching the video, I have Jean-Louis Filion back in the studio after a hiatus here.
Bonjour, mes amis.
He's
Ça
back.
va bien?
Vinny, he's back, Vinny. A lot of people were asking about you, John, wondering how you're doing.
Back in the saddle.
He's back in the saddle again. We're ready to go here. And Johnny, what's going on?
What? Well, you tell me what's going on. I haven't been here for a while. How are we doing in the playoffs?
Well, we didn't do so good.
What?
We didn't do so good. Yeah, we got beat out first round.
Come on, man.
And when we talk a little bit later, we're going to talk about Laval, and they didn't do so good either. So,
je suis très what? Disappointed.
Mal.
Disappointed.
Disappointement.
Mal à la tête.
Mal, yeah, sick in the head is right. And, but the thing is, we're happy about some things here.
Happy?
We are happy. So, you know what? We're going to talk about those some things a little bit later. And at the end of the day, we're gonna pick all this up and we're going to be able to give you some information about what's happening in the next few weeks, because we got a big few weeks coming up here. And when you look at what happened with Laval, right?
Right.
It really, really puts a focus on where Hughes is going to go. Now, people are lamenting the fact that they got swept by the Charlotte Checkers, but let me explain to you.
Well, wait, were they playing hockey?
Well, barely.
Okay.
But it really, really gives Hughes focus on what he needs to do with the draft and with the UFA, the free agent frenzy, or whatever you want to call it. And we're going to talk about that later on. And yeah, but it's good to have John back, the analyst here. He's going to be talking about everything that he's been watching over the last few weeks too. So that's good. The Stanley Cup finals start tonight, John.
C'est très bien. Oui?
I think it's good. I'm not going to watch it probably because who cares if the Habs aren't playing? That's the way I look at it. I'm a Habs fan, not so much an Edmonton Oiler or Florida Panther fan.
You know, and a lot of people speak to that in Laval Provence. It's like, are you a hockey fan or are you a Montreal Canadiens fan?
I'm a Montreal Canadian fan. When they play, I watch. If they don't play, unless there's a team that we're battling it out with, like at the very end of the season when we had to beat certain teams to get in, then I would watch their games and watch that kind of thing. See how they're doing, what they have to do, win or lose. But other than that,
think about it. When we were younger, the Montreal Canadiens were in the Stanley Cup playoffs probably like 80% of the time anyway. Yeah. So we always watched.
We watched till the end.
You know? And then if they inadvertently they didn't get to a final, we might continue to watch.
Yeah, we watched till they won the Stanley Cup.
But now
that's it.
Now it's a little different, because there's a little more time between cups, let's say.
Yeah, there is, like 30 years.
And when back then when we were watching, when we were like, 10, 12 years old, hockey was our passion.
Yeah.
And so we just ate up every opportunity to watch a game because games being broadcast were few and far between.
Yeah, now you can watch every game any night of the week.
Exactly.
So we'd line up at Saturday night to watch that game, and then it came to Wednesday nights too, and stuff like that. But I think we'll have a good series here, and I'm predicting if Skinner can continue to play the series that he's been playing really good for Edmonton, and if he can continue that, because we know Bobrovsky is going to be good. He's money in the bank, and toughness, talent, speed. Florida has that. But I think this year, Edmonton's going to get the better of them. If Skinner has a good series.
If
Skinner
How does that work when you go to place a bet? You go to the bookie and they take your money and they give it back if it doesn't happen?
No.
Oh, okay. Just trying to clarify that.
Yeah, Edmonton is the underdog or the favorite tonight. They're minus 130.
Well, yeah, they are. I believe they are the favorite, and they do have home ice advantage, which they did not have the previous campaign.
Right. So I expect that they are going to win this. I think it's going to be a tight one. It's going to might go the distance, but I think this year is going to be the first year a Canadian team will win the Stanley Cup since 1993 when the Habs won it last.
Wow.
That's my prediction for this series. This is Edmonton's turn.
I kind of, as a Habs fan, I'm really like, as a Habs fan, it's like, boy, wouldn't it be nice that the next Stanley Cup that was won by a Canadian team was won by Montreal?
It'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. Okay, and of course, that's why we're here today and every Wednesday, because that's what we believe is taking place, the rebuild. Okay. Saying that, though, at the same point, I think tonight in this series is all about the GOAT.
With McDavid.
Will he be a GOAT? That's what I think this is all about. Will Connor McDavid go down as being one of the greatest players of all time? And if Edmonton fails and does not win the Stanley Cup this time around, I think his chances of being a GOAT diminish drastically.
Well, the thing is that you only get so many times to get a shot at the Cup, right? Now, they've had 2 years in a row here. So
both teams.
I mean, yeah, both teams. Well, Florida's got the Cup. They got a Cup.
Yeah,
so,
but they have another shot to have 2 cups.
Right. But Edmonton might not get another shot. I mean, there's no guarantee next year they're going to be there, the year after. There's teams that are improving, teams that are getting worse. So they've got to take advantage
and no
of it.
guarantee for Florida.
No, there isn't. But they got to take advantage of it. And I think this year they're going to. I think they realize this is it. They may never see another choice, and I think you're going to get some good performances out of McDavid and Draisaitl and all those guys. I think they're going to do it.
Again, it's going to be down to the GOAT's going to have a lot to do with it, but it's not. It's it's a team sport. It's not one player sport, and that's why I know I haven't been here for a while, but I'm sure you've mentioned the word culture a few times in my absence.
Probably not.
And
that's your gig.
And I kind of believe that this is all about culture as well.
There you go.
That a GOAT will set up a culture as well for a hockey team and demand the best performances of his fellow teammates and inspire them to play beyond maybe their capabilities, to bring something extra to this particular series.
Well, they're going to have to, for sure. Florida's no slouch, right? I mean, they're there to win. Florida
are one amazing hockey team right now. And just at the very end, they made a couple of improvements, bringing in Brad Marchand, and there's another fellow they brought in. I think Spike Spears or somebody. I can't remember. But at the same point, I mean, Florida has got a great team, and they play great hockey. They know how to win. They've done it. They've been there. It's Edmonton has to take this away from them. Well, yeah, and that's going to have to do with that team didn't look like they had the culture within them last year. And I've been thinking a lot about GOATs lately.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's scary.
GOATs. And Montreal had, I think, the ultimate GOAT in Maurice Rocket Richard.
He did. Oh yeah. I mean, you can't deny that.
And hockey and all his teammates had to face the Rocket every game. They had to walk through that doorway, go into that dressing room, and look at that Rocket and say, I got to play the best hockey I can tonight, every night, when he's with me on the ice.
Or else.
Or else, what's he going to think of me? What's he going to say about me? I want his respect. And that is a driving force in the culture of a winning team. We saw it with a guy named Michael Jordan with the Chicago Bulls. And I believe the Rockets set that tone. And that's what has to happen with Edmonton if they want to win this series. Otherwise, they won't.
Well, I think they're going to do it.
And that, to me, says everything about what's happening now in the Ville de Montréal. That we're setting up that culture with our players presently, that now they've been in a Stanley Cup final, some of them, but now the collective team presently have been in the playoffs.
Yes.
And now they know how serious each game is and how there's going to be demands on them to perform to their very best every second they're on the ice. And that's what it's all about. That is exactly what it's all about. And that's what Florida brings to the game. We're going to see if Edmonton brings that tonight.
They're going to have to match their intensity, that's for sure. If they don't,
absolutely.
If they don't, and I mean, winning at home is probably sacrosanct. They got to do that. But you know what? I'm watching Bettman because I'm going to see the TV ratings. They're going to die. Canadians will be watching this series. Nobody else will. It's going to be terrible. This is a series nobody cares about.
And that's a sad thing as well because you're going to probably see some very excellent hockey.
You are. I mean, this is a rematch. This is like
not only is it a rematch, but Florida, I mean, are a great hockey team. They really know how to play the game presently. And that's what's going to be exciting is you're going to see two very good hockey teams. Obviously, same two teams as last year.
Battling it out.
There's a reason that we have the same two teams this year. They're the best two teams in hockey presently. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I'll probably tune in for a while. And then I got to go to Miami Vice. Sorry.
I mean, can you believe that last February and March, hockey was officially recognized as Quebec's national sport? And the first recorded game in Montreal in 1875 was designated as a historic event in Laval, Provence.
No, I can understand that.
I think that's fabulous. That
it's religion there.
We have embraced hockey, that it's our sport. And being a Montreal Canadian fan, we should all be extremely proud.
No, yeah, I mean it's religion in Quebec. I mean, Montreal especially. It's not just a hockey game; it's religion. You go to church when you go to the Bell Center.
And did you know that a couple of weeks ago, in Quebec on a Sunday, Maurice Richard was announced with the designation of being one of the honorary historic official figures in Laval, Provence.
There you go.
And there's only 106.
Jacques Cartier.
Only 106 people have been recognized as such. The Rocket is now one of them.
Fitting. Belleville should be next.
And that should say everything to people about the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Do you think Wayne Gretzky has an award like that?
No.
Do you think Sidney Crosby has an award like that?
Gordie Howe? No.
No. Bobby Orr?
No.
Not close.
No. No.
So
anyway, we'll take a look at that tonight. We'll see what's going on, and I was watching Laval. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, viewer comments. Vinny Houdon said trivia was a no-brainer.
No-brainer?
Last week's trivia was who was the last rookie of the year? Who won the last rookie of the year for Montreal?
Carey Price?
No, not even close. Carey Price.
Lane Hudson?
He said he wants to come back, but his knee won't take it. You don't want. No, we don't want him back. No, don't even think about that. Go with Angela and go wherever you go and have a good time and stay away from the Nets in Montreal, please. No, it was Ken Dryden.
Wow, that long ago.
Yeah, 1971. Yeah. So he said right away, he said, trivia was no brainer since we talked about it earlier on these messages for one of your podcasts. So the answer was in my head right away. And I said, we did speak of it before, I believe.
So will Lane Hudson win it this year?
Yeah, I'm giving it to him already. I've already called in and told him that's it.
Very cool.
Yeah, he's going to get it this year. I talked about that maybe last week about his numbers and all that. And it's not even close. It's not even close. The one that is closest is Celebrini, and Mishkov is there too. But
so will we win it 2 years in a row?
Depends on who you're thinking of for next year. Demidov. I mean, it's possible.
Demidov?
Yes. It's very possible.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's very possible. We could win it 2 years in a row. But that was the answer. And this year, we're going to break that spell with Lane Hudson. So that, what is it? How many years? 45 years or something like that? 55 years since the last one?
71
to 25. Is that 54 years by my count?
Man, we.
There you go. Our math teacher, Fred Tonin, he taught us well, buddy.
Sink on cats.
So we're going to break that spell, everybody. So that was it. Thank you, Vinny, for putting that comment in. Yeah, I know it's a little bit easy. I knew Vinny would get that because he knows this stuff.
He's exceptional. He's an exceptional student.
He is. I thought, though, it really blows my mind in a way because he had tremendous teams from 76 to 79, 4 Stanley Cups in a row there. And you think there'd be one guy who steps up, Stéphane Richer maybe, or somebody who stepped up and got that Rookie of the Year. But no, we haven't won it since Dryden.
I mean, again, the name that would come to my mind would be Lafleur. But of course, we know Lafleur was a slow starter.
He was a slow starter.
So I'm good with that.
Big finisher.
I'm very the long finish, like a good glass of Chardonnay or a nice musky, Scotch.
Chatron de Bec. Okay, so Habs trivia.
Yes.
Habs trivia.
Absolutely.
So we'll see if we can stump Vinny this week. I got a good one. I don't think Vinny's going to get this one, but you never know. He's pretty on top of it. Okay, he's always has the answer. We'll see if he gets this one. So we all remember that fateful night in 1979 that Don Cherry, in a Game 7 Stanley Cup playoff series matchup against Montreal, sent too many men over the boards with about 2 minutes left in the game, allowing Guy Lafleur to score the game-tying goal on the ensuing power play. Do you remember that, Vinny? I do. Cherry standing up at the bench like an idiot. I love it. Which sent the game into overtime. My question is, Vinny and John and Louis Filion, who scored the winning overtime goal in that game to send the Habs to the Stanley Cup final?
Wasn't Jerry Cheevers.
And it wasn't Don Cherry neither. He got him into the overtime.
I think Cheevers was in the net.
I'll give you 4 choices to make this easy. Okay, Guy Lafleur, Yvon Lambert, Steve Shutt, Dickie Moore.
Well, it wasn't Dickie Moore because he wasn't playing in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, number 1.
He was a little bit too old for that, I think.
Number 1. Yvon Lambert, I don't think he'd be on the ice. But I could be wrong. And like I say, I'm pretty sure the goalie was Jerry Cheevers. And I'm pretty sure the flower went down the boards and down the wall there.
Popped one home?
Yeah, and Cheevers looked like he was out of it.
Okay, well let's go back to the guys here. This trivia guys. Vinny Houdon in the game, and once again, who scored that overtime goal after Don Cherry sent too many men on the ice and allowed Lafleur to score the tying goal, and then who scored in overtime to win that series for the Habs and move them on to the Stanley Cup Finals?
I can tell you, I was sitting in my kitchen on Flemington Park in Toronto. I just gotten home from a late shift at the Send the Record Man warehouse.
Send the Record Man.
And I was speaking to a friend of ours, Peter Hendershot.
Yes, Peter Hendershot.
We were watching it on a black and white TV because we were just starting our journey. And I don't even think I saw the puck go in, but I did see the replay. I believe it was Lafleur.
Okay, we'll give you the 4 choices again here. Guy Lafleur, Yvon Lambert, Steve Shutt, Dickie Moore. One of those 4. Vinny, what do you think it is? Don't look it up, and don't ask your wife. She knows a lot about hockey, too. Right? Okay, let's get the answer. The answer is number 2, Yvon Lambert.
Go.
And during his career, that's probably the biggest thing he's known for. But
huge.
I can understand Guy Lafleur because I remember that goal he scored to tie the game. He's coming down, his hair flowing.
I can see that goal in my head.
Shoot it in the net.
Cheevers looked like he was
he was stunned,
trying to get lunch.
And Don Cherry was more stunned, the big mouth. But that's the correct answer.
Don Cherry will never live that game down.
No, that was his coup de grace.
And that's why he has it in for the Habs, because he never won a Stanley Cup. Yeah. C'est dommage, Monsieur Cherry.
Yvon Lambert doesn't get more exciting than that. Of course, the Habs went on to win the Stanley Cup that year, making it their 4th in a row. And Yvon Lambert got him there. Now, he was born in Drummondville, Quebec, and
I think they made sticks.
he started playing hockey when he was in his teens. He didn't start till he was older.
It's like me.
Yeah.
I think I like ice hockey. I think I think Drummondville is sticks too. I think they made sticks.
Yeah, wasn't that where they made the which stick was that? Sherbrooke or
No, I think Sherbrooke sticks
was
were
made
made
in
in Sherbrooke.
Well, there wasn't Drummondville sticks.
No, but
there was
but
a stick.
I think they did. Make
Maybe
sticks.
Sherbrooke made them in
Victoriaville also made sticks.
And he was drafted by the Detroit Red Wings in 1971, Yvon Lambert. And he got traded to the Habs, started with the Habs in 73. He was part of the 4 consecutive Stanley Cup teams and was traded to the Buffalo Sabres in the 81-82 season, where he ended his NHL career.
He was a pretty tough player.
Yeah, I remember him. He was like 6'2", 200 pounds, like that size. And
the kind of size that we want to see the Canadians pick up now.
He's a left winger. And for his last 2 seasons in the NHL, 82, 83, 83, 84, he played for the Rochester Americans in his last 2 seasons of his professional career. And he won a Calder Cup there, too.
Beautiful.
And then he retired from hockey. A steady and dependable left winger, Lambert was a rugged player that never really stood out on the Habs, but managed to play 683 professional games and amassed 206 goals, 273 assists for 479 points. Collected 4 Stanley Cups and a Calder Cup in his career. You know, the guy, how many guys have 4 Stanley Cup rings ever?
A lot of guys who played for Montreal.
That's right. They're the only ones.
That's totally what it comes down to.
It really does. He's still involved with the Habs. Several years ago on a podcast with Ken Hughes, Hughes asked Lambert if the Habs should go after Crosby, and his answer was an emphatic yes.
Sidney?
Yeah, he likes Sidney Crosby. He was understated and underrated, consistently delivered 55, 60 points a season, and he knew his limitations, kept it simple, was a huge asset playing smart hockey. He provided a presence in front of the net on the power play and was a very good second unit PK specialist.
Physical guy.
A physical guy. I always remember Yvon Lambert. You always felt good when you saw him out there. He wasn't going to be pushed around. Now, he didn't really get any awards or stand out, but he was steady. He was that steady, dependable guy that scored the huge overtime game winner in Game 7 against the Bruins, which sent the Habs to the finals, putting another Stanley Cup ring on his fingers.
I mean, he had that presence of like Gainey and Robinson and Savard. They're all like, above 6 foot, and they were solid, very solid.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys. And what's funny? We mentioned Dickie Moore, but he was like a Dickie Moore kind of guy. He was really good at what he did, but he really never got the accolades of like Rocket Richard or Beliveau or the Pocket Rocket or any of those guys. But he was an integral part of everything the Habs did when he played.
If you had Geoffrion and Beliveau scoring all the time, you had to have another guy playing left wing, and that was Dickie Moore.
There you go. And that's kind of what Yvon Lambert was when he played. And like I say, he didn't get a lot of awards. He won 4 Stanley Cups, a Calder Cup. But
you know what?
Did.
You don't need awards if you win Stanley Cups.
No.
Ask Don Cherry.
Yeah. And but he did set up that goal, and that's what he's best remembered for.
Ask Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
Ask Mitch Marner.
Would you rather score 90 goals, or would you rather win the Stanley Cup?
Ask all those dudes.
They'll tell you.
They'll tell you.
So there you go, Yvon Lambert. Did you get it? We'll find out in the comments. And anybody else who wants to leave comments, go to the video. Subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. We're on X now. We're on all 3 platforms. Like the video.
Are we on Donald's platform?
True Social?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, we should do that.
Not yet. But you never know. I'm going to try to get it on. Subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing. It helps our algorithm. It helps us get the show out there. Like it. Do everything you should be doing. It's free. What the heck? What do you get for free these days? You get to watch us.
That's pretty nice.
That's worth free.
That's pretty nice.
Subscribe. We love it. Now,
we really love your comments. We really love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I love it. I love reading the comments.
It's quite interesting, and we're always looking for things that we don't know. It's all about sharing information that we all enjoy.
It's that interaction. If you catch us saying something wrong or not being right about something, let us know.
But not only that, it's just the fact that we all love the Habs, and it's great to learn more things about them.
Yeah, now I want to get to the Laval Rocket.
Okay.
And oh man, I watched the games in this series, and Habs fans.
This is in the Checkers series.
Against the Charlotte Checkers, and there's no good news for anyone today about the Rocket.
I don't like their name either. Checkers. I really don't. That's not a hockey name.
I mean, when a team from Charlotte beats you, and they won the league. The Rocket won the league. They're the best team in the league. And not only did they lose the series, they got swept in the series. And that says to me, our hope for the future that was on the ice in Laval, that we were talking about every day. Oh, yeah, we got so many prospects there. We got to onboard them. I'm telling you one thing right now. None of those guys are NHL ready. There's no friggin' way in. I don't care if it's Reinbacher, Mailloux, Beck, Kapanen, you name it. Engstrom, Kapanen, whatever. You name anybody who plays. Barre, Boulet.
Wasn't Kapanen playing in the NHL,
yeah.
And then he came to play with the Rockets?
Yeah, he was over in Sweden or something. He came over to the Rockets or something.
So then I think he
might have come up for a few games.
Yeah.
But I watched that, and it's unimaginable that them, with all the future players that we talk about, we had so much hope for, the best team in the AHL got swept. I just by Charlotte, a hockey hotbed.
Do we have any players on the Charlotte Checkers? That's what I want to know.
No.
Oh, that's not that. Now that's disappointing.
It's really disappointing.
That's disappointing.
And the Checkers, I watched the games. They're way better. I mean, they drubbed the Rockets 5-1 in game one, 5-2 in game two in Laval. The first two were in Laval. The next three, which they never got to the third one, in Charlotte, 5-1 in game three, and then last night they got polished off 3-2 in Charlotte. And did you see the goal that Charlotte got with about 2 minutes left?
No. Who's in net for Laval?
It was Fowler. And Primo's been playing stinky poo. Is that French for bad? Because he is stinky poo.
I think that's for the outdoor washroom.
Really, really disappointing. And to tell you the truth, the Rocket were never in any of these games. And the goaltending was horrendous. And last night's game, the defenseman, the puck came through and the defenseman dove to knock it away and knocked it right to the Charlotte player, and he put it in the empty net. Fowler was sprawled out on the ice. If the guy would have just left it alone and would have went right to Fowler, he grabs it, and that's the end of that. This guy swung his stick. I don't know what he was thinking. It was going right to Fowler. He was waiting for it. It went over to a Charlotte guy and bang, right in the net. It was 2 minutes left. They couldn't get the tying goal. But the goaltending has been, other than last night, has been horrendous. 5 goals every game on them. It didn't matter. Primo was in. He played Primo to start. And that's another thing. What's up with these Montreal coaches playing guys that it doesn't make sense? We went through this all year with MSL, putting in these guys when they shouldn't be playing. And now this guy starts Fowler, and then he puts in Primo after Primo came back from Montreal. Fowler wins 4-0 or something. Then he puts Primo in, he gets beat. Then he puts Fowler in, he wins that series. They go over to Rochester, win that series. But the games that they're playing these goalies, they're shuffling them around. They don't play the hot goalie. What's with is this some kind of a curse on Montreal?
I believe in the playoffs, the Laval Rocket were rotating the goaltenders each game.
Well, not each game, because Primo played a few in a row.
Well, I think Fowler got pulled at one game.
Yeah,
and then Primo would have went in, and then Primo played the next, blah, 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 blah. Primo played pretty good for Laval once he went down this year after Dobas came back on.
He played great.
And then they brought Fowler in, and they're trying to find out where Fowler's at, and they're trying to see. I still think Laval Rocket, as much as they're trying to, win hockey games, are also trying to see the development of the hockey team and who has the potential to move into the big leagues next year, because we lost Denny Savard.
Yep.
We definitely could have an opening in goal if somebody steps up.
No,
but we don't see that at this point. So if you don't play them, you don't know.
They're not NHL ready. Let me put it that way.
That's all I can say.
But you're in the playoffs, and I don't know, through my watching hockey, the hot goalie always got the net,
especially
in the playoffs. Right? We've seen that. We saw Carolina win a Stanley Cup, shuffling goalies around because whoever was hot, they played. And if the guy sucked, they just got him out of there, and they won a Stanley Cup by doing that.
Well, we saw Dallas exit around this year because they had we'll call it goalie confusion.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We'll call it goalie confusion.
Goalie confusion, and that really confuses me too. But I watch these games and I'm just going, man, this team is just, none of these guys are ready. They're not ready to come up. I can't see any of those guys coming up and helping Montreal at this point, which is bad. It's bad because we talk about them all the time. Look at the guys we got, Mayu and this guy and Patrick Wawa and a Florian Jack guy and all these other guys. I'm telling you, they look like it wasn't even close. And I'm going, this is the best we got. How are we going to bring them up to the NHL when they can't play in the AHL? Which is...
Well, we know they can play in the AHL because they won the AHL.
Okay, they can play, but they can't win.
Well, they won the overall league.
Well, they won the overall league, but so Toronto won the Division 2. How they... See, this is...
No, but they won the cup in the AHL, right? They won the playoffs in the AHL.
Where?
Charlotte's not in the AHL.
Yeah, they are.
Are they?
Yeah, the Charlotte Checkers.
We never played them during the season.
Maybe not. We might play in our division. I'm not sure how
I think we had won that league and then stepped into the next bracket.
But
we did. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
We beat the Cleveland Monsters and we beat the Rochester Americans.
What I believe is Laval has a good team. Okay, I'm not going to say they have a great team. They have a good team. But what it may do is it may make people consider trading some of these assets.
And that's the good part of all this. The good part is that Hughes now knows where he stands. He's sitting on 16th and 17th pick in the first round. And he's sitting on players that are expendable. That some teams might value. And we know Hughes' MO, you know what he did? He traded for Doc, he traded for Newhook. So trading these picks with a player or two or whatever would not be out of his realm to pick up a bona fide NHL player. And I think this series showed him that these guys aren't going to be up next year and they're not going to make Montreal any better. So now he's got to go to another way, and that other way is either not through the draft, because you're not going to draft a player that's going to be in right away, but through free agency or through a trade. I think that really cemented this series. So if anything good came out of it, it was that. Because I really don't see any of these guys coming up and contributing to Montreal. None of them. If you can't win in the AHL, if you win the whole thing during the season, I mean, please, what are you going to do? I mean, you think they just had a bad 4 games? Even if it was a 7-game series and the games were close, I would say, that happens, right? Teams get hot. They get a hot goalie. But this wasn't that. It was 5-1, 5-2, 5-1, and then a close game last night with Laval playing a little bit more desperate because they were out if they lost, they lost anyway.
Being swept is definitive.
Yeah, it is,
and that's the whole idea.
That was the thing that got me.
That's why you play a possibility of 7 games, because it could be either way. Much like last year's Stanley Cup final. But there's no, this is the best team, Charlotte. Laval, you don't make the cut.
Well, I think Ken Hughes now knows his next play. And it's going to be in the trade and free agent market, and I don't think you're going to see him wait until the day of like the free agent frenzy. It's going to be probably before the draft or maybe even on draft day. I think he's going to pull the trigger on a deal in the next few weeks. And I think he sees the future and he knows that they're not ready yet. So I'm not saying they're not going to be ready in a year.
So do you think he's going to trade for a
bona fide, whatever,
an upcoming free agent
um,
before free agency takes place?
I don't know if he'll pick a free agent because you usually overpay for a free agent, and Ken Hughes is smarter than that.
Mm-hmm.
But he may find a team with a guy that they want to move or the guy wants to move.
Right.
And there's a few names floating around out there. And sit down and say, listen, we got 16th and 17th pick. We got some players here that we may want to move. What kind of a deal can we make? And you may see him move. Mayu has been named, or a couple of these other guys.
Logan Mayu.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, because I understand that we have somebody from the KHL coming to development camp.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Who's that? Who's that, you ask?
Who is that? Who's that? That's good. We probably have a lot of people coming to development camp.
Well, but this gentleman right now is playing in the KHL. He's on I believe he just finished the second year of a 3-year term. He's got one more year in the KHL.
Is it yours?
His name is Konyanashkov.
Cut your nuts off.
Konyanashkov. And he is being brought over to see where he stands in our roster.
Oh, what's he playing?
As far as our depth. He is a defenseman.
Beautiful.
A right-handed
defenseman. Even more beautiful.
And he plays a great two-way game. He's well respected. And people believe he could be a very big asset for us.
That would be awesome.
So
that would be good.
So again, another player that we really weren't so aware of, but seems to be very great potential for the Habs. He's 23 years old. Like I say, he has one more year remaining in KHL, and then he would be coming over to. He could be signing a contract with the Habs.
Is he a Smurf?
No.
Ooh, that's even better. He's not a Smurf.
Let's see if I have his size here. I don't know if I
extra large. I hope.
But what I like about him is the fact that he's already playing 23 minutes a game.
Oh man!
You know, so he's smart, playmaker. He does long distance pass, accurate, transitional threat, solid puck moving defender. He's not necessarily a big point guy, but he knows how to bring the puck out of the zone.
Beautiful.
He plays the PK, of course, and the PP, and like I say, he's averaged over 23 minutes a game in the KHL.
Well, I mean that sounds good to me.
So
it's worth a look.
Having him and taking a look at him at developmental camp, something that really isn't done, bringing a player like that who's signed to your developmental camp, which you're allowed to do. You couldn't bring him to a training camp because he wouldn't have been signed with your team.
Right.
Okay. Means a lot that Hughes wants to do this and have a look at him. And if you were thinking of moving somebody like a Mayu and knowing where this gentleman fits in your roster, you know, your depth charts.
Yeah, it may work.
Say très bien.
Yeah, because they're not going to. I don't think they're going to move Reinbacher. Come on, we picked him 5th.
It's a little early unless you were to get the next Sydney.
Yes, exactly.
Or Connor.
I don't think they're going to move Reinbacher. They made a big commitment to him when they picked him over Mishkov, and I think they picked him over Mishkov. And I don't think they're going to get rid of him. Mayu's one that they could move, and he could be valuable to a team. But I think you're going to see something like that happen. That's an MO that Hughes makes, so that wouldn't surprise me. I always call it this, right?
Yes.
A2. My favorite word has been A2. A2. What does that mean? In you?
Yes.
But it also means expect the unexpected.
A2.
And I say that about everything now. I've been saying that for weeks now. Expect the unexpected from Hughes. That right there would be unexpected, but yeah, expect the unexpected. He's going to make a move. I really believe it after this series. And you're going to see something happen here. I don't think he's going to take a big dive in the free agent market. You overpay for players and that kind of thing. but we do need that second line center. And there are players that are sitting out there that would probably work. I don't know if they're going to be moving, but guys like Sam Bennett and guys like that are still floating around out there.
A lot of people talking about Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett becomes a UFA, I guess, July 1st, right?
Yeah, Sam Bennett.
So you're not going to trade them for Sam Bennett.
No,
you're going to wait until he's a UFA and sign him.
Right, and sign him.
And will Sam Bennett want to come to Montreal?
Well, there's a couple things going on with that right now. And the biggest problem is money. Because
money.
Yeah, because if he's going to want like $10 million, he's going to want even more to come to Montreal because of the tax situation and that kind of thing. Like these guys, in the old days, money was money. Nowadays, they get their accountants and say, okay, how much is $10 million when I got to pay tax in Quebec? Well, that's only about $7 million. Okay, then I need $13 million to get 10. Like these guys, it's not like the old days, right? It's not like the old days. So they're really, really aware of where they want to be. Tax-free status, Utah's tax-free. There's other places, Utah Mammoth. Can you imagine the name Utah Mammoth? What kind of name is that? But that's what it is.
Woolly Bully.
Woolly Bully. Oh, the Woolly Bully. But so, there's so many things involved with all this. But there are guys out there who he may come over. But I think when you're looking at these guys, it's always a case of overpaying. And a lot of them want long contracts because, this is it.
Sam Bennett's 28.
Yeah, so he's going to want 7 years.
So he wants to be compensated for what he's put out for the last 10, 12 years.
And there's nothing to say he won't sign with Florida again, re-sign with Florida.
Absolutely.
So you got to make him a really good offer. Florida can offer him 8 years. Other teams can only offer him 7. That's one of the things. And also, it's like where he wants to play, and the tax situation too affects him.
Yeah, and not only the taxes, but do you want to play in Quebec?
In the cold Montreal weather, or
does Sam Bennett have a family? I don't know.
In Sunrise, Florida, where the weather's always warm, you can golf every day. The ocean's right there,
and you may win a Stanley Cup at the end of the next 2 weeks. And do you want to go for 3?
Yes, that will be a factor for sure.
Absolutely.
So, there's a lot of factors with guys like him, but there's other guys, Brock Nelson, Bo Horvath. There's a bunch of people who are out there that are floating around that can come to Montreal. Matt Duchene is another one. Mason McTavish. He's got to be submit an offer sheet on, and we're going to lose picks and stuff like that, but he's really, really good. So there's opportunity out there, but I haven't seen, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I really haven't seen Hughes delve into the free agent market. He usually stays away from it, and he makes his deals out of that whole frenzy there.
He looks for players that have proven talent in pre-NHL, like in their junior years, who have been drafted and then not lived up to their MO. And he tries to take advantage of finding a player who he believes hasn't been developed properly and deserves a second chance and is willing to give it to him.
Yeah, and the funny thing is in the NHL right now, if you think about it, I heard this on a podcast. There aren't too many players in the NHL that are untouchables. If you think about it, who are the untouchable players in the NHL that teams will not move no matter what?
Connor McDavid,
probably McKinnon.
Austin Matthews.
I don't know about that one. I don't know. Marner's going to be gone, I think.
Connor Bedard. Marner's not going to be a Leaf.
No, he's not.
He's going to be a free agent.
They're talking about him on Montreal, and
that's not going to happen.
I don't think so. There's McKinnon on Colorado. You've got a few players. I'd say Suzuki on Montreal. There are a few untouchable players, but for the most part, there's a lot more that could be moved at any second. And A2.
A2.
Expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected. You know who used to say that?
Who?
Peter Gabriel.
He said A2?
He said expect
the unexpected. Well, I always did when I went to their shows.
Absolutely.
Because they were fantastic.
You never knew what you were going to see at a Genesis concert.
Exactly. They're kind of like A2. They were like A2.
That's it.
So we're going to wait and see here. I mean, you can make all kinds of predictions. Everybody is. But for me, I just know that Hughes has got a plan. And we have to believe in the plan. He knows what he's doing. Now he knows what he needs. With no question, he knows what he needs. He knows what he has. And he knows who are the expendables.
He sounds like Le Père de Noël.
What's that?
Santa Claus.
Father Christmas. Santa Claus.
He sounds like Santa Claus.
I look like him.
You know? No, but he sounds like him.
So that's a good thing, though, folks. That's a good thing, Mesdames et Messieurs. He knows what he's doing, and we're going to see something
maybe by
happen.
December 24th, we'll know what's going on. Hey?
Yeah, well, we're going to be first place in our division by then if he makes a couple of good moves, because we're not going to be waiting to see if we make the playoffs the last game of the season next year. That's not going to happen.
Remember, expect the unexpected.
A2. So that leaves open a ton of possibilities. And I don't know. I'm just excited because it's like, you're right. It is like Christmas. Christmas is coming in June because we're going to probably see it happen. Checking it twice. Going to find out who you can get for real cheap.
Who can play and who can't.
Yeah. But I can't wait. I think we got about, in the next 3 weeks, we're going to really know what we got. And we need that centerman. We definitely need the centerman.
Kirby Doc. Is that who you're talking about?
I don't know. Kirby Doc could be gone too. He hasn't done anything for Montreal, really. He's had a tough go of it. And Patrick Laine, another one. What's he worth? I mean,
I think Patrick Laine helped Montreal to get into the playoffs last year.
Well, that's what everybody's saying.
A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, see, I'm not.
And he put a lot of pucks in the net for Montreal.
Well, on the power play, but could Caulfield have done the same thing?
I don't know. We don't know.
We don't know.
But we know what did happen. And Laine contributed with goals that we didn't have the previous year.
Well, he was on the power play, but
he did contribute.
He really did.
And we did make the playoff. And we did make the playoffs.
Yeah, but
now I'm not saying Patrick Laine is the answer.
Not really good.
And you're paying Patrick Laine what, $8 million?
$8.5 million to be a power play specialist.
So maybe you won't be paying him $8.5 million in 2026, 27.
Well, we won't, guaranteed, because he won't be on the team.
There you go.
They're going to ditch him after his contract.
So there you go.
We got one more year.
And so it may be a good time to try to onboard a guy named Bennett.
It'd be great to onboard a guy named Bennett. It's just, are the Habs going to pay him? It's like Marner. He wants $13 million.
What I'm saying is, though, if you're not paying $8 million to Laine, give it to somebody else.
Yeah,
you're paying it out anyway.
Yeah, we got it this year, no matter what.
So unless you trade,
unless we trade him, nobody's going to trade for Laine.
So give it. So even if you have it this year,
buy out his contract for half price.
Who knows?
Something like that. I think there's a buyout.
I don't think that'll happen. But you could. It depends on how you do your deal with a guy like Bennett.
Well, I mean, if you get a guy like Bennett, if you get a really good center for that second line, right, then Laine can just play power play, basically, because otherwise he's useless. You drop him down to third or fourth line, you throw him out there on the power play.
What if you play Patrick Laine on your third line?
No, that's what you would do.
Well, if you do that, you might have one hell of a third line.
Well, you could have.
Because you have to consider what are the other teams putting out as their third line.
Yeah, because you throw him with Gallagher.
So you may have a huge advantage at that point.
You throw him out there with Gallagher and Dvorak or something like that, right?
Yes.
A couple guys like that. So or Doc. I mean, so we're gonna have to see what they do with Liney. He's another problem child. We got to get rid of him. That'll be his last year. They're not going to re-sign him. I don't think. I think that's unless
Boy, you have really gotten negative over the last since I've been here last.
Well, we got to get rid of these guys. We got to move. We got to move, baby.
People got to move.
We got to
right?
move. We can't wait till the
People
last game.
got to move. Gino.
We can't wait till the last game.
Gino Montreal-born Vanelli.
Right.
People got to move.
We just can't wait for the last game. So it's going to be interesting what happens. We'll see. We were talking to Drew Deeks. We'll see what he thinks after listening to this. But yeah, and the next thing is free agency. But Hughes is basically shied away from in the past 3 years. But sometimes you're forced to pick something out of there because you need it. And with the lackluster play of the guys on Laval, I mean, and then we still got on board guys to Laval. We still got people coming in. We've had 33 picks in the last 3 years, and we got a dozen more this year. So guys like Hage, that guy's coming up, and he's going to be something.
So that, and Hage still is young, still is in development stage, not just in his hockey skills and ability, but in his own physicality. He still needs to beef up a little bit and in strength, all those types of things to be able to survive in today's current National Hockey League.
Yes. So we still have more of those guys we have to deal with. And we got 12 more this year coming.
We have too many.
We do.
Many too many.
We have many too many. So we got to start moving these guys. We got to start moving them
that
around.
Gives you that opportunity. If you can find the right equation you have assets that you can use to try to acquire that skillful player to be the tipping point for keep the hockey.
And, that's bundling it up. You got to bundle it up like Kojigo. You got to bundle it up to make the move. And Hughes will do that. I mean, we've seen him do it before. But that's basically what we're going to be looking at is making a move before the draft and using those 2 draft picks and some players. Or if he can't get anything done by that time, then he's going to have to take a real close look at the UFA market and say, can we pick somebody up, from this UFA market that's out there, that's available? We haven't done that in the past. Hughes knows he doesn't want to overpay. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited because that's all coming down in the next 3-4 weeks. We got to be watching that. So there's just if you listen to all the podcasts and that, there's tons of them. And they're just throwing so many names out there. And what happens is they throw them out there and hope one sticks to the wall. And then they say, hey, I told you that was good. But, I don't do
chatter.
Yeah, I don't do that here because you know what? I'm A2. Expect the unexpected. So all the chatter about these guys from everybody, it's really just chatter. But at the end of the day, nobody knows because Hughes has it. He might already have it all figured out now. He knows exactly what he's going to do. That's the kind of guy he is. But it's exciting times for us because we're looking for these players that'll get us over the hump in the playoffs, get us past the first round. And we've got the base. We've got the core.
I think the most exciting thing is that last year we had goals and expectations, and I think we met them.
I'd say we probably exceeded. My goal was to just be in the hunt for a playoff spot. So them making the playoffs exceeded what I thought they would be doing this year, which is fantastic.
So, I think we met those goals.
Yeah, we did for sure. Yeah.
We brought on a couple of players that we never thought would be on our team. And some have succeeded extraordinarily well. And we continue to have lots of assets in the fact that we have lots of young players developing. I just mentioned this gentleman from Russia that I had no idea about, as well as we have, like you said, another 10 draft choices, 2 in the first round. So everything is looking very bright for the Montreal Canadiens. And we're in a way better spot than some people are who have to totally rebuild and have to actually get determined about it. That's what I like about Montreal is that they did set the plan and they're enacting on it. A lot of people will say, "Oh, well, there's going to be changes here, there's going to be change, and then nothing changes. But the good thing about this team is there have been some very solid changes, and we've had some solid success.
And we've got the good core five: Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Demidov, and Hudson. There are core five players right now. And then we have some other guys like Carrier we picked up who played great,
Exactly.
And Gooley, who's doing fantastic. So we have these other guys that are floating around as well that are playing really good hockey. Newhook was forced last year. He played a bit better, real fast guy. Anderson had a tremendous year.
They all contributed. Galley had a great year.
Gallagher had a great year. And I'm anticipating he's going to have another 20-goal season. So this is all good stuff, man. This is all good stuff. We've got our core. Now we just need a little bit more of support. Support plays, maybe a little tougher, a little grittier, more guys like Anderson.
We need players that are going to develop. We need players that are going to deliver us into the second round.
Yeah, we're going to take the step.
Okay, of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Got to take the step.
We have to, we have to get to the second round. So some teams have done that, but they're stalling. Our plan has to be to get there and have the plan ready to make it to the next step after that.
Yeah, and that's the final.
And that's where Ken Hughes is at. It's like, when do you pull the trigger to make that third and fourth step? When do you pull the trigger to grab who you need, who will be effective when the timing is right to make the third or fourth step? And that's what it's all about.
And I think what happened with Laval gave him an indication that pulling the trigger is a lot sooner than later, because if they would have won the Calder, then that's a whole different ballgame. That's a whole different ballgame.
Let me tell you something.
But now it's different.
If you onboarded 3 players from Laval to the Habs this year, and the Habs won, got into the playoffs, and then went to the second round, I'd say that is a successful year. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Wow,
and then if that happened, then it would put you in that position to say, now I got to start pulling a real trigger. I gotta really make a move to bring in, whether it be that elite goaltender, that elite goal scorer, or that elite forward who's two-way, or that elite defenseman who is two-way. We think Hudson's going to be the elite defenseman.
Definitely.
Okay? We think Demidov is going to be the elite forward.
Yes.
Okay? Then we have Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky. Okay? So so we need a goaltender without a doubt. We need another defensive player without a doubt. And we need one more center without a doubt.
There's the 3.
And those are the 3 he needs to pull. Maybe not this year, but definitely if next year we get to that second round, in 26, 27, he's got to be getting those 3 players.
Yeah, well, training camp's going to be interesting if he doesn't make a move, because I can't see who he's going to bring up that's going to help this team right now from Laval. So he's got to do something if he wants us to progress next year. Making the first round is good. That was good for this year, gave the guys experience. But next year, we got to do more. He wants to see progression, and it's going to take a few extra players. Any 3 stars. I haven't been doing the 12 since the season ended, because, really, who's the 3 stars right now?
Yeah, I really haven't even thought today about...
I would have picked Laval players, but they didn't give me any stars.
I think... I really don't have anything to say. Like I say, the most impressive thing that I've watched over the last couple of weeks that really kind of blew my mind was the fact that the province of Quebec honored Rocket Richard the way they did. And
there's your start.
And for me, it just speaks to the GOAT and the fact that the GOAT is not just the greatest player of all time, but he's also the inspiration that will take you through the forest, through the woods, and get you to the other side. And how important that is to have a guy that everybody walks into that dressing room and goes, I got to play better tonight. I got to be my best. Or I can't, or I won't be able to come back into this dressing room. And that is so important. And I think you see that in other sports. A guy like a Tom Brady was that GOAT. Michael Jordan was that GOAT. We had our own in the Rocket. And like I say, it'll be interesting to see if Connor McDavid is going to be a GOAT. But that's what's needed, and every team needs that. And I believe Florida has that with a couple of players.
Yeah, they do. I read a quote from someone who said they asked him how Maurice Richard was passing the puck, and he goes, passing the puck, he wouldn't even pass the salt. That was a famous quote.
And to me, why would Maurice Richard have to pass the puck?
He doesn't.
Because he puts it in the net.
That's his point.
Exactly.
That's his point.
Absolutely.
And on that note, we're getting out of here. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We really appreciate it.
Good to see everyone.
John's back.
Merci beaucoup.
I don't know if you'll be
back. I don't know.
Next week.
Next week, I think I have an adventure. I think I have something I have to do. But
okay.
It's been a solid hour. It's been great to be with you guys.
Yeah, and welcome back. We'll see if we can get you back in here next week.
Definitely.
See how it works out for you.
We'll definitely come. Whenever I can, I will be here.
And we thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Leave some comments. Welcome John back for the week here, and we'll maybe see him next week. But we're out of here. My name is Paul K. Lemire.
Je suis Jean-Louis Filion.
This is HABSOLUTELY coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, in the studios of 4680Q. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all. We'll see you next week. Au revoir.
Salut.
Mon ami. We're checking out now. Maybe.